Hello and welcome to the Arsenal Way. Back again with you guys for another episode of our Arsenal Agenda series. I'm joined this morning by Chris. How you doing, mate? You good? You well?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Thank you, TC. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Last day of work before the big break. So, yes, I'm very, very happy indeed. I'm just sitting in the chat box. Marcus says, the Tielemans deal hinges on Tom allowing him to be his best man at this wedding. Go get it done, Tom. All the best. Love that. Yeah, can't imagine that happening. Let's start off with Tielemans' reports yesterday. £50 million, £200,000 per week. I mean, I dare not ask you whether you buy it, but I will ask you if this is the case, how does it affect your view of a potential deal?
Oh well, I mean, if this is the case as you say, then I put it this way: I don't disagree with Arsenal staying away. We've been wondering, haven't we, why maybe Arsenal are taking their time? Is it because they're relatively relaxed about getting a deal done? They're the only real team showing interest, and the initial discussion, because we know obviously we've reported that football.london that talks have taken place over the last several months, and with the players' representatives, and there's a keenness on all sides of the deal to maybe get it done at some point. But for whatever reason, we haven't seen that wrapped up yet. And obviously, if these reports are to be believed, and Leicester demanding 50 odd million quid, along with the players' high wages, then you can't really fault Arsenal for not making their move. So we're talking about a player that obviously has just under a year left remaining on his current deal. And look, I appreciate Leicester maybe aren't in the most healthiest of situations financially at the moment, but to be demanding potentially, if you go by the reports, £50 million for a player whose contract is running down, who wishes to leave as well, I can't help but feel that they're being a bit ambitious with that. So we'll have to wait and see. I never say never, especially in the final days of the window. Sometimes when clubs leave it late over a potential deal, it's to get the price dropped and sort of meet halfway. And like I say, it looks as if the player wants to leave as well. He's interested in a move to Arsenal. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But at the same time, Arsenal must stick to their guns, mustn't they? And actually, tell Leicester that there's a point where it crosses the line for us, and that is when you talk about paying £40-50 million for a player in the last sort of 12 months of his deal. So one to keep. Obviously, like I say, I'd be interested to see how it develops between now and the end of the window. But if those reports are to be believed, then I wouldn't hold your breath on that deal happening.
To be honest, I don't anyway. Even at the current previously reported price tags around 25-30 million, I would be surprised at this stage, to be honest, if Arsenal ended up getting Youri Tielemans through the door. It just doesn't strike me as something that's going to happen. Things can change, and I hope they do. I wouldn't mind seeing Tielemans come through the door at all. I think it would be a benefit to the team, but I just can't see it. Just can't see it happening at the moment. It would require a big turnaround. But we thought this about Thomas Partey, in 2020, and then on deadline day, things dramatically change. So as we all know, things can switch around at just the tip of a hat. In the chat box, Emmy says, please, Arsenal should add another player to the ones we already have. What happens, Chris, if we don't? Where is your head going to be with this squad if no one else comes in between now and the end of the window? Because our last signing, I believe I'm right in saying, was before August. So,
Well, it's interesting actually, because I'm sort of currently writing a piece about the sort of the scenario which could follow, and that is not signing anyone else, or in particular another wide player to replace Nicolas Pepe, because we obviously understand here at football.london that he is closing in on that loan move to Nice in France. And look, I think ever since January beginning of this year, when obviously we were in desperate need of added firepower after losing Aubameyang. Obviously, I think it was Thomas Partey at the time that was out with injury. We were struggling in central midfield, And you looked at the situation as an Arsenal fan, or not even necessarily as an Arsenal fan. I think any football pundit fan looking in at Arsenal and the situation surrounding the squad and injuries and sort of the transfer business that we conducted in January in terms of outgoings, you sat there and you thought, well, they have to do something. They've just simply got to do something. You know, you can't go for the rest of the season trying to fight for a Champions League place without all due respect, you know, to Lacazette and Nketiah at the time, who were, you know, lacking confidence. They only had a few goals between them. You wondered where the goals were going to come from in order to, you know, secure that Champions League spot towards the end of the season. And then, you know, we absolutely missed Thomas Partey in central midfield, and his presence, his quality. So, you know, I think ever since then, you wonder, oh, you know, Arsenal have got, okay, this new strategy in place in terms of transfer business, and part of it, you know, it's really, really good. You know, we've seen younger players come in from sort of, particularly from the Premier League. You look at Ramsdale, Ben White, Jesus, Zinchenko. Obviously, we're looking at Pedro Neto as well. Players with a winning mentality, top quality pedigree, really. And look, you know, that's fantastic. You know, that you could arguably say that's helped us get to this winning streak in the opening games of the Premier League. That's what's helped us sit at you know, currently at the top of the Premier League table. But I think they've touched on it, you know, sort of certainly in the All or Nothing documentary. We've seen it, you know, with Mikel Arteta, Edu, when they've spoken to the media as well, that if there isn't that top quality player there for the taking, then they would rather do nothing at all, because they only want top quality players to join the team, players that are going to instantly hit the ground running and improve it. And I get that, I do. But, you know, I hope that isn't the case with Pedro Neto. We know he's a top quality Premier League proven winger, but then you would like to think they will have someone else lined up if we can't get this deal done, because obviously the talk at the moment is that there's doubts over the £50 million price tag. It could be off-putting for Arsenal. I guess maybe you could take encouragement for the Lissandro Martinez situation earlier on this summer. We didn't get him eventually, so then we instantly turned our heads towards Zinchenko, got that deal wrapped up fairly swiftly. So you would like to think maybe we have a similar plan in place for the wide player. Obviously, a couple other names have been mentioned as possible targets. So I hope that's the case, TC. But like I said, you know, when you look back at what happened with January, where we were in desperate need of added firepower, you just hope that it's slightly different this time around, because you get the sense, don't you, that there's a real good chance for Arsenal to have a really big and successful season if they can maybe add one or two players before the deadline.
Indeed. I think we can have a successful season if we don't sign anyone, honestly. I think this squad that we have right now is good enough to go and qualify for the Champions League. It should be good enough. But obviously, by adding one or two more players, I think that we can really push on and really push on to something. Who knows what could happen. So I hope that we add a player or two. I agree with you, but the reality is that we may not end up doing that. Ayush says, Tom, we don't need Tielemans. We need more players named Gabby. This strategy has worked well for us, and United have also caught up on this, and they're filling up their squad with Antony's now at this stage. I mean, we've got four Gabriels. Can you name them all? Do you know all four?
Yeah, of course. Gabby, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's got four, though. Who's the fourth one?
Oh, put me on the spot now.
I know.
Martinelli, Jesus, Magalhaes.
Yeah, who's the fourth one? Come on, chat box. I'll leave that.
Why do I feel as if this is like a trick question or something?
It's not a trick question. There is a fourth Gabby in the squad. Let's see if anyone can.
I think I might know.
Who is it?
Is it Saliba?
It is Saliba. Yes, William Saliba's middle name is Gabriel. So yes, Arsenal actually have four Gabbies in the team so far. So I mean, we need to sign Gabigol, basically. You know, we absolutely need to sign Gabigol. Let's jump into the chat and tackle a couple of questions. Let's go to Harvey, who says, "Does it feel like the market is limited and few options when you want quality? And if you want it, you need to maybe overspend. I'm not sure that Arsenal will do that." What do you think?
Look, I mean, if there's a top quality player out there on the market that, you know, the club are confident are going to come in straight away and hit the ground running, as I said a moment ago, instantly continue raising the bar, because that is what we have done with the additions of Jesus and Zinchenko in particular. Then yeah, go for it. As long as they obviously fit the profile of player that Arteta is wanting to add to his squad, someone he's confident that will fit in, then yeah, if it makes sense, then we should be absolutely open to it. When you maybe say the word overspend, I think it depends on how much we're talking. I look at someone like Wesley Fofana at Chelsea and the Gordon deal as well. I think personally it'll divide opinion, but I think with both players they're overspending. £60 million on Anthony Gordon in my mind is mad. I'm not sure if Wesley Fofana is worth £70 million. If he's worth 70, how much is William Saliba worth? Anthony, Manchester United, there's talk of them spending up to 70, 80, 90 million pounds on him. I just think if you're desperate, you're going to overspend. And look, Chelsea, they've made a couple of shrewd signings. Sterling, Koulibaly, I think, although we got sent off at the weekend, I think they'll prove to be decent signings. But apart from that, they haven't done too much. Obviously, they missed out on Rafinha like we did. They've struggled to maybe get a couple of deals over the line, as they are finding out with Fofana and obviously Gordon as well, because they've had a couple of bids knocked back. But, it's taken a while for them to really get the dice rolling. And now we're obviously into the final 8 days or so in the window. We usually see teams starting to panic a little bit, maybe thrash out all of the money on one player because they're desperate to get someone in. So I don't think Arsenal are desperate. I don't think they're in that situation, because we've been really smart. We've been patient, and we've got overall, the players that we feel as if we needed and that will make a difference. The priority was undoubtedly a new striker. We got that in Jesus, filling in competition and support for Tierney at left back, and Zinchenko. We've done that, whilst also you could say strengthening central midfield, because we know he can also play there. Odegaard, Smith Rowe, even maybe Saka have got competition with Vieira now, because he's someone who offers versatility. But I think if we're letting Pepe go, we need a replacement, and that's not necessarily because that's just the easy thing to do. We're letting our record signing go. Well, we need a player, obviously, but it's because we've got extra games to play this season, and with the 5 substitutes, as well, a combination of those things. Compared to, I know I've been saying on the stream quite a bit, but when you look back at last season and think of all of the youngsters that were making up the numbers on a bench last season, then it's quite clear to see that we're going to have to add at least one sort of more senior face to the squad to really have it in a healthy place in terms of balance of depth. So yeah, I don't. Obviously, I'm always wary of overspending, but yeah, again, it's not my money. If, like I say, if the club identify a player out there that's available on the market and they are certain he will make a difference and continue raising the bar, then go for it. That's what I say.
Absolutely. I hope that we see Arsenal continue kind of this thread of being sensible. Overspending is what got us into such a poor situation by spending what we did on Mustafi and Socrates and Lucas Perez and Danny Welbeck. Those 4 in particular cost Arsenal nearly £100 million combined. So we need to be careful about what we do with our money. And if that means spending or not spending, more than it should take for Neto or Tielemans, because we can then wait and get someone better for a better price later on, then I think that we need to be prepared to do that. There are times, I think, when it's worth investing more. Like you think about Ben White, we invested 50 million in him. Was he 50 million when we bought him? Probably not. Could he potentially be worth that? Yeah, I think that there's absolutely, we've seen performances of a player that can become a 50 million pound Premier League defender that's homegrown. So I think it's about the measure. It's about what we can do and what we don't do that's going to make us, whether successful or not. GIDF32 says, what extra games are we playing this season? We will be playing the same amount of games as we do every season. Only last season we didn't play less games. Obviously, with the Europa League coming in, we went out very early in the FA Cup last season as well. You would hope that wouldn't happen this time around. And with the World Cup, a lot of these games are condensed down a lot more. You're going to be playing more games in quicker succession than typically. So there is a slight change. The amount may not change, but the time in which they are going to be played is going to be decreased because of the World Cup's influence in the winter window. So for me, rotation is going to become very key. I mean, this week, and I'll finish on this topic, Chris, we've got Fulham and Aston Villa in the space of 4 or 5 days. And then just 4 days after that, we play Man United at Old Trafford. What kind of rotation do you see taking place at all? Do you think Arteta will rotate, or do you think he'll just stick with a winning team?
Well, I mean, it's one of those tricky decisions for him to make, isn't it? Because we're in such good form at the minute, enjoying a really good run. There's a lot of confidence within the starting 11. They're on top of the world at the moment, and you want that consistency to continue. They've found their like I said, they've found that consistency, and now they need to keep it up. And I think when you make too many changes, you do run the risk of disrupting that consistency. We've seen it before when Arteta's had to change the team around for various reasons, and it's surprising just how much of an impact it can actually have. So this just reiterates my point, TC, that we need to absolutely dip into the market again in the final few days and add 1 or 2 more players just to really balance the squad depth out in the perfect way. Because what my worry is if we don't and if we don't do enough in the final days of the window, then Arteta is going to have to be relying on maybe a couple of options that just maybe aren't good enough or haven't got what it takes to come in and do a job. For where Saka's playing, for where Thomas Partey, Xhaka, and etc. I'm a bit more relaxed with the depth we have at the back, because we have Tierney that can come in. Obviously, Tomiyasu, we know he's versatile. Rob Holding can come in and do a job for us more often than not. But I don't know. I've still got a little bit of concern in central midfield. I can't lie. I think that's just because although El Nedi had a great, finish to last season, we know sometimes he can be hit and miss. Sambi Lokonga, he's looking to really build his confidence up after a rocky debut season. So, you said a minute ago, TC, at the start of the stream, if we get someone like Tielemans in, I'm not going to be fully against it. I can see why we've maybe done that. You can see him being a big player in the Europa League as well as maybe the Premier League. I know he's probably cup tied now, isn't he, in the Carabao, because he played last night. But, it makes sense, and I think let's talk about Marquinhos at the minute, because Arteta's confirmed he's not going out on loan. Don't get me wrong, he's impressed with the under-21s so far. Got a few goals and an assist under his belt. Looked sharp pre-season, although he didn't play that much. But again, can he come in and do a job when Saka or Martinelli aren't playing? It's a big step up, a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Maybe there's games early on in the Europa League that he could really have an impact in. But, I just feel as if, we need to maybe add a few more senior players to this squad, players that have been there and done it, have got a lot of experience already, and are proven to come in and can make an impact. So look, I think with the Europa League and the introduction of 5 substitutions, I just think that it would be a big risk not to strengthen any further. And I'd like to see obviously more activity in the coming days. We know there's a couple of outgoings maybe close with Pepe and Maitland-Niles as well, with plenty of interest in him. Hector Bellerin, but I think the attention has swiftly got to turn back towards incomings before the end of the window.
Indeed. Hopefully we have a really strong end to the window. I'm praying that is going to be the case, because it would be absolutely important to what Arsenal could achieve in order to do that. But rotation, as we've just discussed there, is going to massively affect the success of what we manage and how we manage this group of players from game to game. I look forward to the weekend. You'll be able to find plenty of coverage continuing, of course. Do tune in tomorrow morning. Bailey and Chris will be around throughout the week and next week, of course. And I'll be back next week on Tuesday to return to things. There will be a match reaction show, of course, after Arsenal's game against Fulham. Hopefully there'll be reaction as well after the game on Wednesday night against Aston Villa at home, I should say. But Chris, thank you for your time, mate. Really appreciate it as always.
Thanks, TC. Pleasure as always. And of course, thank you to everyone tuning in this morning. I hope you all have a great day.
Indeed. And we are in the category for Best New Content Creator in the Football Content Awards. If you would like to vote for us, thank you so much. There are 400 of you that are tuning in. And for the 27,000+ of you that have been able to subscribe to the channel over the last 9 to 11 months and the crazy kind of growth that we've had here, it's very, very easy to do. If you've got Twitter, all you need is to tweet, I am voting for @TheArsenalWayN5 in @the_FCAs for hashtag Best New Content Creator. You can vote for lots of different outlets in lots of different categories. But if you are voting for Best New Content Creator, do drop us a vote. You can also vote on Instagram by tagging us in the relevant post on the Football Content Awards Instagram page. And you can vote on the Football Content Awards website as well. So there you go. If you want to show some support and you've really enjoyed our content over the last year and are continuing to enjoy it, then please do. We will see you other than that very, very soon. Tomorrow morning, of course, with the next one. And potentially a little bit later on today as well for another show. We will see you again very soon. And as always, keep following us down the Arsenal way. 49, 49.